Hello, welcome back to Cracking the Cryptic, where today I'm going to try and do just that. So I'm going to have a look at Friday's Times crossword in a moment. One thing that's quite fun to do is to look at the stats for a crossword before we do it. This shows you the fastest solvers of the day. Now, when we have a quick look at this, some of these are fictitious, either people who've solved the puzzle and then just typed it in. Why they do this, I have no idea. But yeah, all of these times are nonsense. They're just slow typists as we go down. The first time, I believe, is this one, which is Mark Goodliff, 11-time Times crossword champion, 6 minutes 11. So that's about the limit of what I think is possible on this puzzle. I think Moan is John McCabe, regular top 3 in the Times crossword championship, 8:36. Jason James, also stunning solver, 10:42. Now, the fact that there are very few believable times under 10 minutes here means that this is probably very hard. Either that, or there could be, it's possible there's a contentious entry, but let's have a look at what the puzzle looks like and see how we can get on when the machine works. Right. Mechanic making a terrific mess. Okay, well, this is a nice easy start in a way. So, as usual with a cryptic crossword clue, we need to work out which side of the clue is the definition. It's almost always at the beginning or the end of the clue. So it's either going to be mechanic or it's going to be the word mess. Now, the issue I have with it being the word mess is that that would mean the wordplay was mechanic making a terrific, which doesn't, it's not an instruction. Normally, wordplay contains some element of repositioning things or putting things inside other things. Here, that makes no sense to me. So I suspect the definition is mechanic. And then I have to understand making a terrific mess. Well, a terrific is 9 letters, and if you make a mess of those letters, if you anagram them, I think you get artificer, which I think is an old word that means a mechanic. Now, it might be wrong, so I'm prepared to come back to it, but let's have a look. Lead lost or lead lost in amusing play, departs discharged. Well, an amusing play would be a comedy. So if I take the top off a comedy, I get omedy. It's not looking good with my A here, is it? Okay, no. Another word for an amusing play is a farce. If I lose the first letter, the lead letter from the word farce, I get arse, I suppose. Now, believe it or not, D can be an abbreviation for the word departs. If I add the D on, I get the word arced, which means discharged in an electrical sense. So, I mean, this is one of these clues that I totally accept. If you're new to the Times crossword, it's so difficult to get a handle on this because you won't be familiar with there being a valid abbreviation of departs for D. But it's one of these things that happens. You just have to do enough of these to get familiar with them. Let's try this one. Take course of treatment to overcome fit. Well, whenever I see fit in a cryptic crossword clue, I always think of the word apt. So remember Mark's advice. Mark's best tip for solving Times crossword is to think of every short synonym you can for every word in the clue. Now, some words recur over and over again, and fit is one of those. It's very often APT, apt. So if we think about putting apt in this, because to overcome suggests, we want to put something around something else, then I can see that capture is possible. So the definition here is just the word take. If you take something in chess, you capture it. A course of treatment is a cure. So cure around apt gives us the answer. Let's try this one. Perhaps fourth best outfit. Perhaps fourth best outfit. Fourth best would be an also ran. Fourth best outfit. Fourth. Don't know. Artful howl breaking through this to the house. Okay, well, I've just been saying the word fourth over and over again, and believe it or not, that is the first word in this answer. Artful howl breaking. Now, if you just look at the phrase artful howl, it must look strange to you, even if you're not familiar with the Times crossword. It's such an odd collection of letters. Whenever you see odd collections of letters, your spider sense should be saying anagram. The next word is breaking. Well, breaking is a very fair anagram indicator. If we break up things, we mess about with them, we destroy them. So it's saying destroy the phrase artful howl, anagram it, and that should give you a phrase that means through this to the house. This punctuation mark here is a little bit misleading, but if you break through the fourth wall in a theatre, you would go and see the audience, which are the house is another word for the audience in a theatrical sense. So fourth wall is the answer here. Let's try 4 down. Charlie King next, that's obvious. Charlie King. Charlie King next. It's a really odd phrase. I mean, I think the answer is clear. Charlie is one of those international radio words. You know, if you say Oscar, Foxtrot, Romeo, Bravo, Charlie is for C. So that I think is this C. Then a king, well, King Lear comes up over and over again. If I put C and Lear together, I get a word which is clear, and you can see if something's obvious, it's clear. So I think this is saying Charlie is this C, put a king next, put the word Lear next to the C, and we get something that's obvious. So this looks like Dick Turpin immediately. Let's see if it is. Secret informer has serious love for European in danger. No, I don't see why it would be Dick Turpin. No, I'm not sure. Let's go back to that one. Ah, okay, that's quite clever. Perhaps fourth best outfit. Well, your best outfit would be your top gear. And perhaps fourth is saying fourth might be your top gear. I think in most modern cars, fifth would be your top gear, but I think fourth is perhaps, you know, that's why it's saying perhaps. It's not certain that fourth would be your top gear, but it could be. So top gear here. So this now looks like deep something. Deep throat. Yes, deep throat is the name of a secret informer. So how does that work? Serious, if something's serious, it's deep. Love for European in danger. Now this is a substitution, so if we think of a 6-letter word for danger, and the word here we need to think of is threat, then love for European is saying take the E for European of the word threat and replace it with an O. A love score in tennis is you've got the 0 score. So love is often used to indicate 0. So that gives us throat, so deep plus throat equals deep throat, secret informer. Traveller at table may be having the usual. Well, I don't know. But I'm pretty sure it's going to start with rep. Rep is a very, very common word that's used as a synonym for traveller. I think it's like, you know, an Avon rep would be somebody who travels round. I think that's what it's getting at, but it's very common. Let's try that one. A feature on Cromwell rejected as corny stuff. Okay, well, Oliver Cromwell famously was quite warty, so his features would be warts. If we reverse the word warts, as we reject them, we get the word straw, which is corny stuff. Let's try that one. Doctor pulled up murder victim in slump, one lying over the wheel. Well, I don't know the answer to this, but one thing I am thinking is that murder victim quite often is indicating Abel, as in Cain and Abel. So if you see murderer in a Times crossword clue, quite often it's Cain. So murder victim is Abel. Pulled up might be a reversal of Abel in something, but I can't think for the life of me. what that's going to be. So let's go over here. Not such a fair job for host. Well, a job that's not fair would be a put-up job. And if you host someone in your house, you put them up. So I think put up is a good answer for that one. Let's try this one. Knock or stab. Now this sort of clue, it's the word or here isn't really necessary for the clue. It just improves the surface. This is a simple double definition. We need to come up with a word that means knock and a word that means stab. A stab can obviously mean a try. If you have a stab, you have a go at something. So punt, probably. Punt. If you knock something, do you punt it? You knock the ball, you punt. Certainly, I think punt could be a synonym for knock. Quite like that. Hydrogen in tiny amount over area where air passes. So hydrogen, if you see any chemical elements, always be thinking of the chemical symbol that represents the element. So this is going to be putting an H in a tiny amount over area. Okay, right, so the answer here is that we need to put H in the word trace, like that, over area. Area can be abbreviated to A, so we put H in trace over an A, and we get the word trachea, which is where air passes. New injection, I must follow up, turning back, tongue. So again, I'm thinking this is, well, I've got this one actually. The tongue here looks like it's the definition. Now, always with the Times crossword, in fact, my best advice to a Times crossword would be to read the surface of the clue. So here, if we read the surface of the clue, it seems to be relating to, you know, injecting something and that making you roll back your tongue, you know, as in this. Now, always reject that interpretation. You need to be always thinking of the words in the clue in the opposite sense to the sense that they are, the surface reading suggests. So here I'm absolutely sure that tongue, the thing that you lick with, is nothing to do with the definition. It's going to mean language. We need, a tongue can be a language. So we need to be thinking of a language that fits in here. And the key part really is the word injection. If you think of a short synonym for an injection, you would have a jab. So if you immediately, I think that just gives it to us. It must be Punjabi, and then it's just a case of justifying it. So this is new. N can be an abbreviation for new. New jab, I, that's this I, must follow up turning back. Well, if we turn the word up, we get PU. So we put N jab I after a reversing of up, and we get Punjabi, which is a tongue. Collecting little stickers from Italy help with sorting. Okay, well, I can see immediately here again, Italy help is 9 letters. The word sorting, that suggests shuffling or mixing, so we can automatically be thinking, is this an anagram? And the fact I've got a very nice selection of letters there that add up to the right number of letters, it's very likely to be an anagram. Now, collecting little stickers, well, I'm sure we all had stamp collections when we were little. Philately, I think is the answer. Doctor comes to a halt. Ha! Okay. Well, an example of a doctor is Doctor Who. If Who comes to A, that's this A here, we get the word whoa, which is an instruction to a horse to halt. So that's how this clue works. Nice. Exclude from hotel, I'm in a tent. Well, this is a nice clue. It's quite cleverly designed actually in terms of the way the font works, because in every Times crossword there is a hidden answer. An answer where actually the answer is just spelt out by letters of the clue. And here, if we look inside the letters of hotel, I'm in a tent, we can find ilim in 8, which means exclude. Now the reason it's harder to spot here is obviously the word crosses the line, so it's spaced over the two lines, so it is hard to see. But always, if you're really stuck, look out for that in a Times crossword. There's only one of them. That's a rule that the setter has to abide by, but there is almost always one. Elaborately sew Christian up during his fast day. Well, okay. Well, I tell you, my first thought here was that elaborately was an anagram indicator, telling me to anagram the word so. But if we look at the rest of the clue, Christian up during his fast day, the word during here is suggesting we need to put one word inside another word, so that the word would be during that other word. Now, if we look at what that means, it has to be during his fast or his fast day. Now, I don't know any synonyms for his fast, so it suggests we're looking for a Christian fast day that we're going to put outside a reversal of a word for Christian, and the whole thing means elaborately so. Now, I can think of a word beginning with E that means elaborately so. Let's see if it's right. Embroider. Okay, yes it is, because here we've got Christian up. Well, it's Christian Dior being reversed there in ember. Now, Christian Dior didn't have any fast days, but a religious Christian has ember days. They are some of the fasting days. Don't ask me when they are, but I've heard of them, ember days. So we've got ember around the reversal of Dior, and that means elaborately so. Let's try this one. Take too much in benefit, computer error offering a bomb. Well, I haven't got this one yet, but take too much is almost always overdose, which can be abbreviated to OD. So I'm thinking this has an O and a D in it. And there's not many places we can put an O and a D. A benefit could be the dole. So if I put OD in dole, I get doodle, and that is enough for me to solve the clue. A computer error is a bug, and a doodle bug is a bomb. Very nice clue. What's this then? Traveller at table may be having... Okay, repeating. If you're at table, perhaps you might be eating. And if you're repeating, you'd be having your usual drink, because you're repeating what you normally have. So, what's this one? Doctor pulled up. Ah, this is the one I thought might have able in it. One lying over the wheel. No, let's just have a look at this. Cut access to... okay, access to a computer would be your login. If we cut the G out, G is an abbreviation for good, we get loin, which is a cut of meat. So now it is a reversal of able. Yeah, let's put able backwards in here. And can we think of a word that fits? Well, I can only think of one, and it's the word saddlebag. So let's put that in and try and justify it. So doctor, this is a Doctor of Divinity, DD, one of the many abbreviations for doctor that come up in a Times crossword. So off the top of my head, you'd also see DR, GP, MO, MB, any of these can be doctors. So yeah, something you just have to learn. So we've got DD plus a reversal of able, pulling up the murder victim. In a down clue, up can be a reversal indicator, not in an across clue. That's also a rule. In slump, if you slump, you sag. One lying over the wheel is a saddlebag, so that's useful. Nothing disturbed virile actor. Okay, so nothing is 0. It's this letter. Disturbed virile. Well, disturbed should be, again, making your spider senses tingle. That is suggesting an anagram. So if I anagram the word virile, I get Olivier, well, plus the O, which of course is an actor. Another rule that some people don't know is that the Times crossword is not allowed to reference anyone living, so except the Queen. So Olivier can be clued here because Laurence Olivier is dead, but you wouldn't see, for example, Jude Law being an acceptable solution. Checked both ends of bar were unoccupied. Well, both ends of bar is suggesting take both of the end letters, the start and the end letter of the word bar. So that would give us BR. Checked were. So if something's unoccupied, it's idle. So were unoccupied is idled. So bridled. If you check something, you would bridle it. So bridled, I think, is the answer here. Cop rejecting a tedious occupation. Well, it's a couple of ways of reading this. One way would be to say we're looking for a 6-letter word for a cop that would reject the letter A, and that would give us a tedious occupation. Or it could be the name of a cop, and we are rejecting a tedious occupation. Now, I have got this now, and the way I've got it is by focusing, believe it or not, on this letter A and asking myself, if this A is part of the wordplay, why is it there? Because the clue would read almost identically and certainly mean exactly the same thing if we put cop rejecting tedious occupation. So this A is here because it is necessary. Therefore, I need to put it here because I'm rejecting a tedious occupation. Now, a tedious occupation is a drag. Garda, I think, is a policeman in Ireland, isn't it? So that's a little trick as well. Every word in the clue ought to matter in a good crossword clue. Not quite epic bones. Well, an epic in the Greek sense is the Iliad. And Ilia is the plural of ilium, I think, which is one of your bones, lower back, buttocks type area, unless I'm mistaken, which I could be. I'm not very good at botany or even anatomy. Right, so call regularly to keep order before Old Kingdom becomes profitable. No clue what that is. Like a nail, perhaps not quite dried. Okay, a nail, another word for a nail is a tack. And if something is tacky, it would be not quite dried. So like a nail is cryptically punning on the word tacky there. Let's try this. Monk having none, so to speak. One imprisoned. So when we see so to speak in a crossword clue, it almost always is indicating a homophone, so a word that sounds like another but is spelt differently. So here a nun is a sister, but I can't think of a word that, apart from cystine, that would start like that. So I'll come back to that one. I need to. Rings postponing a series of games in turn. Don't know what that is. Wizard, comic, no good. This is probably a 6-letter word for a comic with no G in it, for giving us a wizard's name. Or Magog. Magog and Magog were giants. I'm not sure if they were wizards. A mag could be a comic. Not sure. What's this one? Smirk as I'm in a sin-free state. Well, that would give us, that does agree with a G. That could be grimace. So I'm is the I am here. That's being put in grace, which is a sin-free state, and a grimace is a smirk. So this does look like it might be Magog. Let's try that one. Graphics files stack up endlessly among pending purchases. Wow, okay, I have got that one. In a sort of Amazon.co.uk type situation, your pending purchases would be your cart. So that gave me enough to go on to get clip art, which are graphics files. Well, it's going a bit funny. Clip art. And you can see it stack up endlessly. It's saying take a word for a stack is a pile, reverse it endlessly, so without its E, among, so put that inside the word cart, and we get clip art and graphics files. Very hard. In city, needs bandage perhaps, having cut head. If you need a bandage, you would be bleeding. So needs bandage is bleeds. We take the head of that off, get the word Leeds, which is the name of a city. Okay, so what is this one? Call regularly to keep order. Order can sometimes be order of merit, OM. Before old kingdom becomes profitable. Ah, yes, okay, so it's commercial. Oops. So, what have we got here? We've got call regularly. When you see the word regularly, we had a question about this in the channel recently, it means take the regular letters from a word. So, you sometimes see this more explicitly as evenly or oddly. So here we just need to take the regular letters from the word call. So the C and then the L, so the odd numbered letters. That's this C and this L. So call regularly is keeping order, well this is OM for order of merit, before old kingdom. Well, the kingdom of Mercia was an old kingdom, and that gives us the word commercial, which means profitable. So that's again agreeing with this. I don't really get why. Oh, no good, I suppose, could be zero good, maybe, like that. Oh, God. Okay, let's have a look at this. Rings ground, postponing a series of games in turn. Rings ground. That sounds like rings round to me. Ring. A series of games in turn. Well, a set would be a series of games. So I reckon this ends with the reverse of the word set. And using the logic that... no, hang on. I was about to say this A might be here, but I think the way this is meant to be read as I think this word means rings. And we need a word, a 6-letter word for ground, in which which will contain an A, and we're going to push the A later on in that string of letters, because we're going to postpone the appearance of the A in the word. I don't think the dog is right then. Okay, this is a 6-letter word for ground, not in the sense of earth, but in the sense of if you have the grounds to do something, would be a reason to do it. And if I postpone the A in the word reason to the end, I would get resoner. Add that to the reverse of set, and I get resonates, which means rings. So this, oh, magus then. Oh, that's brutal. Okay, so comic is mag, and then no good is the abbreviation US, which I don't think it means useless. I think it means unserviceable or something. If something's no good. US certainly means something like no good, and we'll check that at the end. That's a monstrously difficult clue. Okay, one more. Monk having none, so to speak, one imprisoned. Okay, I have got this. It is a word that sounds like sister. I think it's Cistercian. So how's this breaking down? It's sister, spelt like this. So that sounds like obviously the word sister with an S at the top, plus one imprisoned. Well, this is this one here, in the can. If you're in the can, you're in prison. So this is a cryptic way of indicating the letter C-I-A-N. So I think this is going to be the answer. Let's put it in. Pregnant pause while we wait for the what we want to see is all green letters, hopefully. Otherwise we may... Oh, bother. Oh, that's so annoying. What's this one? Knock or stab. Oh, I was pretty confident about that, especially when it crossed with Punjabi. Right, hang on. I'm just going to pause the video and get Chambers up. Okay, so here's Chambers Dictionary. I have an electronic copy which is useful for this. So, punt, what we're looking for. Okay, well there we go. It means to knock. So, and it clearly, if you have a punt at something, you have a go at it, don't you? Surely. Let me just have a look. Punt. If you have a punt at something, I mean, it's not perfectly justified by Chambers, but I think it. I mean, I think in colloquial use, if you have a punt, you have a stab. You just do. So what on earth is the answer to this then? Knock or stab? P blank N blank. Pink? If you stab somebody, I think pink can be a word that means stab. Let's look that up. Pink. So there we go. There's stab as the meaning for pink, but we need it to mean knock as well. Oh, okay, there you go. So a characteristic metallic knocking noise caused by detonation. Well, of an engine to knock. It's to pink, apparently. I did not know that. I actually contest that punt is not a perfectly valid alternative answer to that. It'd be interesting to check on the forums to see whether this clue has caused consternation. A very rare thing, actually, for a Times crossword clue to have two valid answers. I can't remember the last time I saw an example that's as clear as this, to me anyway, which feels like there are two valid solutions. Now I just wanted to, what else did I want to show you? US, let's check what the abbreviation is. Was above. No, I can't even find it now. It's not justified by, maybe it's justified in new Chambers. Unserviceable. There we go, it's US, U/S is unserviceable. So that is where that's coming from. Extremely difficult, unusual use of abbreviation there. So really don't beat yourself up if you didn't get that one. You need to know quite a lot, even of general knowledge here. I mean, deep throat, doodlebug, Garda, Punjabi, Magus, philately. I mean, you can see why this is a Friday puzzle. There's not much easy here. So I hope this was a good run through for those of you newer to the Times crossword. I do try and do one video a week, sort of going through every clue. I know it makes the videos long, but they seem to get good feedback when we do them. So I hope this is good. If you do enjoy it, please subscribe to the channel. Please give us a thumbs up. We appreciate that. And we'll be back soon. Another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.